Happy spring, and wanted to give a quick report from the field as spring is upon us, and we'll be rolling out in our trucks next week, actually, full speed ahead. Love the springtime, love getting out into the yard to do some digging and planting and splitting firewood. What I do love to do also is ride bikes in the woods, love mountain biking, but unfortunately, because of our tick situation on Long Island, the spring has become a time when we can't do some of the things that we used to do out of doors that time of year because the ticks are just so terrible. So things like mountain biking, or I love to look for antique bottles in the woods and that sort of thing. They kind of come to a screeching halt this time of year and have to stay out into the wide open spaces. But there's plenty of space and time and things to do during the springtime, and but we do have to face the fact that we have an uncomfortable situation with ticks on Long Island, and getting out into our yards and into our parks and that sort of thing has to be done with some caution and some insight. I wanted to just throw out 3 thoughts on this brief video. Not really brief. I don't know how to do brief, but we'll give it a shot. Oh, look at that. The magnolia is starting to come out over here, right behind me. Loving it over here. You can't see it probably. There are a few myths around ticks that I just wanted to speak to briefly. One is people telling me that they see them jumping or falling out of the trees. And that just doesn't happen. Ticks don't come out of trees, and they don't jump. Ticks generally never get much higher than a few feet off the ground, generally hanging on some grass or on a shrub, questing, which is a way of saying they're just waiting with their little dirty paws out to grab onto somebody, or creeping along the ground or in leaf litter. What they do though is the deer tick, which is one of the 2 bad ticks on the island, is they will generally they're going to be around leaf litter, taller grass, and brush and that sort of thing that might be up to like knee height or waist height, and so avoiding those areas as you are able to is important. Unfortunately, the Lone Star tick, which is now the predominant tick in Suffolk County on Long Island, it's not quite as shy. The Lone Star tick actually will go out into the middle of the lawn area, even with short grass. I do a fair amount of work for the different electric companies and the phone company on Long Island, mitigating tick situations for their workers. And I have reports from the guys telling me that in their work areas, in the substations, they have Lone Star ticks crawling right over the hot bluestone in the middle of the summer. Deer ticks won't do that, but the Lone Star ticks will do that, and they do carry diseases that are detrimental for sure. So that's it, myth number 1. Number 2, many people think that the winter time kills ticks. Less people are talking about that now because the winters have been certainly less harsh. But in order for ticks to die, it would have to be probably a couple weeks of fairly Arctic, freezing temperatures for a handful of ticks to die. Those would just be the ones that are at the surface. But generally, ticks are going to burrow down into the leaf litter where it's warmer, and they are not going to be affected by the cold. And besides that, they also have sort of a natural antifreeze that their body produces to protect them from being harmed by the cold. So, third myth is not so much about ticks, and there's a lot more we could say about ticks, is that it's more about the products. And so we just wanted to, as an organic company with values to protect ourselves, our environment, our children, and wildlife, many times you'll see, because people are concerned about chemicals, there are many people, companies that are going to promote natural solutions. And if they're not saying that they are organic solutions, but they're just natural solutions, then it's likely that they are using a product or products that are naturally derived from organic products, but have become synthetic, and in their mode of action, they are no longer really safe for, definitely for bees, very toxic to bees. All sorts of beneficial insects are harmed, and whatever one wants to believe, we're no longer comfortable using those products, which we certainly did for decades, until we sort of had our own little awakening. So all that to say, if you are working with somebody and they're using natural products, you want to find out what they are. You have the right to know what's being used on your property, and you should know. If you would like some help walking through that, and we're happy to give education without swaying you to come to us, even though we'd love you to join us, just so that you can feel informed in your decision making on how you're protecting yourself and your family and the environment. Dealing with ticks is a comprehensive approach, and springtime is a tough time because these little critters that are coming out, they're in their adult stage of life, which means that the disease rate is high because they've already fed on smaller mammals. They have one blood meal they need per each stage of their life. At the adult stage, they're getting their final meal, and if they're going to be contaminated, it's more likely at that stage. And so they're going to come after larger mammals like you and me. And some of us, like me, have gotten larger during the winter time, not doing as much exercise as probably I wished. And so the comprehensive approach in our suggestions would be to try to avoid tick-friendly areas. Unfortunately, you can't do that all the time, but staying out of the woods, or if you're going into the woods, go in places where there are paths that are wide. Certainly paved paths are a little bit better. Sandy paths are not terrible. And avoid walking in tall grass, that sort of thing. And also, secondly, learning what a tick looks like. What different kinds of ticks look like, and what they look like at different stages. And just be prepared. Make it part of your daily routine. Checking yourself thoroughly, checking your clothes. If you feel like you've been in an area where there were ticks and you were exposed to them, throw your clothes in the dryer for 10 minutes when you come back. And taking a shower is not going to wash ticks off you. So you really need to take a peek, get someone else to take a peek, and we can help you with informing you on what to look for as well. And then finally, the final approach would be just on your properties, treating the areas that you are going to be traveling in, and having the areas that are more likely tick habitat treated organically. And we can do that. We use products that are organic, and occasionally when we have to use, in a very bad area, a product that could be sensitive to pollinators, we would avoid where pollinators either are, or the times of year when they are more current and more active. So that's all for today. Reach out to us if you need. Text us, call us, email us. Happy to inform. Have a happy spring. Talk to you soon.